Dr. Ethan Riley sat at his desk, staring at the glowing screen of his research terminal. Outside the small dome of the space colony, the twin suns of Kepler 452b were setting, casting long golden shadows over the jagged rocks and alien flora that stretched to the horizon. The station was quiet, save for the hum of life support systems and the occasional chime from a distant monitoring device. Ethan loved these moments of peace. They gave him time to think, to observe, to wonder. Ethan was a xenobiologist, trained to study life in all its forms, from the tiniest microbe to the most complex alien creatures. He had spent years on Earth studying theoretical alien species, but now he was living among them, or at least as close as humans could get. His research station was one of the few human outposts on this distant planet. Most of the surface was unexplored, and every day brought a new discovery. Tonight, however, something unusual happened. A soft ping interrupted the hum of the terminal. Ethan frowned. The signal wasn't from any of his usual monitoring devices. It wasn't from Earth, nor from the neighboring colonies. It was something else, something different. He tapped the screen, bringing up a new data stream. The pattern was strange, almost like a language, but unlike any he had ever seen. For a moment, he hesitated. Communications from unknown sources were rare, and most were either harmless signals from distant satellites or scrambled transmissions that had no meaning. But this felt deliberate. Before he could think further, the screen flickered. A figure appeared, tall, elegant, with smooth, shimmering skin that seemed to shift colors in the soft light of the station. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He had expected some automated signal, maybe a recorded message. This was alive. "I am Queen Alara," the figure said. Her voice was calm but urgent, echoing slightly as if it were amplified by some unseen chamber. "Human, my daughter needs you." Ethan blinked. "What?" he whispered, leaning closer to the screen. The words seemed impossible. Why would an alien queen, on a distant, barely explored planet, call for him specifically? The figure's large, luminous eyes seemed to study him. "Do not be afraid. You are the only one who can help her. Please, come." Ethan felt a mixture of awe and fear. He had studied alien life forms, communicated with them through translators, even witnessed some intelligent species interact. But this was different. The Queen spoke directly to him, and she spoke his language, perfect English, with no accent, no hesitation. He rubbed his eyes, convinced he was imagining it, but the figure did not fade. The Queen's expression was serious, almost pleading. "Why me?" Ethan asked finally, his voice trembling slightly. "There are billions of humans. Surely someone else. You are different," the Queen interrupted gently. "You have seen life with open eyes. You have learned, understood, and respected. You can see what others cannot." Ethan's mind raced. He had spent years analyzing alien behavior, studying their biology, understanding their ecosystems, but he had never imagined that those very skills, his curiosity, his patience, his empathy, would make him special in someone else's eyes. "Where is she?" Ethan asked, finally finding his voice. The Queen's image shifted slightly. Behind her, he could see a massive crystalline palace, shimmering under the light of a sun he did not recognize. "She is on my planet in the royal gardens. She is ill in ways we do not understand. Our science cannot heal her." Ethan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. A life depended on him, an alien life. The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. But somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of purpose. Humans had always been explorers, thinkers, problem solvers. This was no different. He stood and began preparing. He gathered his field equipment, checked his medical kit, and made sure his shuttle was ready. The colony's AI assistant, a small hovering orb named Lyric, followed him silently, emitting soft beeps. "You're really going, aren't you?" Lyric asked in its mechanical voice, though Ethan knew it was more curiosity than surprise. "I have to," Ethan said, fastening the straps of his backpack. "She needs me, and, Well, this is the kind of thing humans do. We figure things out. Lyric hovered beside him. You're brave. Or perhaps foolish. Maybe both, Ethan said with a faint smile. But if I don't go, she won't. Have a chance. I have to try. The shuttle was small, designed for quick interstellar travel and exploration. Ethan climbed in, feeling the familiar hum of the engines beneath him. As he engaged the launch sequence, he looked out the window at the colony one last time. The alien landscape stretched endlessly, beautiful and dangerous. He felt a shiver of anticipation. As the shuttle rose, breaking through the planet's thin atmosphere, Ethan thought about the Queen's words. You are the only one who can help her. That was a weight he had never carried before. It was frightening, yes, but also exhilarating. The journey was long. He drifted through the stars, staring out at the void, thinking about what awaited him. He wondered about the alien Queen's daughter, how she looked, how she felt, how she would respond to a human healer. The unknown was vast, but Ethan had faced the unknown before, in the jungles of Earth and in the uncharted corners of space. He knew curiosity and patience could lead to answers where fear could not. After hours of travel, the shuttle entered the orbit of an unfamiliar planet. Its surface was a cascade of colors, glowing forests and shimmering lakes that reflected the light of two suns. Ethan's breath caught. He had seen many beautiful worlds in simulations and research files, but nothing compared to this. As he descended, he could see structures rising from the landscape, tall, crystalline towers that seemed to hum with energy. The architecture was elegant and organic, as if it had grown naturally from the land itself. Somewhere in that palace, Princess Lyra waited. The shuttle touched down gently on a landing platform. Ethan stepped out, his boots crunching softly on the crystallized surface. A gentle breeze carried the scent of strange flowers, sweet, sharp, and utterly alien. He could hear soft, melodic sounds in the distance, almost like music, and then she appeared. Queen Alara stepped forward from the palace entrance, her skin shimmering with iridescent colors. She moved with grace, each step deliberate and fluid. Her eyes met Ethan's, and he felt a strange mixture of awe and calm. Thank you for coming, she said. Her voice was softer now, almost relieved. I know this is sudden, but time is short. Ethan nodded. I'll do what I can. He said, and he meant it. The Queen led him inside the palace. The walls glowed softly, pulsing with light that seemed alive. Strange symbols decorated the surfaces, shifting in patterns that reminded him of flowing water. The air was warm, filled with a sense of life and vitality. Finally, they reached a large chamber. In the center lay Princess Lyra. She was not as alien as Ethan had imagined. Her features were delicate, almost human-like, but her skin shimmered faintly like the Queen's. She lay still, eyes closed, and a soft, gentle light seemed to hover above her. Ethan approached slowly. He knelt beside her, taking in every detail. Her breathing was shallow, but steady. Her pulse was faint, yet there was life. Can you help her? Queen Alara asked, her voice trembling slightly. Ethan looked at the princess, then at the glowing chamber around them. He felt a calm determination settle over him. I will try, he said. I need to study her first and understand what's wrong. The Queen nodded. You have our trust, please. Save her. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. He had faced dangerous situations, unknown illnesses, and alien worlds before, but nothing compared to this. This was more than science. This was life itself reaching out to him across the stars. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew humans were made for moments like this. Moments that required courage, patience, and understanding. Moments where empathy could cross the boundaries of species and culture. He smiled faintly at the Queen. Then let's begin. As he prepared his equipment, he felt a strange sense of purpose. Whatever lay ahead, he was ready. The stars outside the palace windows twinkled like distant promises, and Ethan Riley, a human far from home, stepped into the unknown. Tonight, a human would make a difference. Ethan Riley had never seen anything like the planet beneath him. From the shuttle's observation window, the world looked like a painting. Forests that glowed with soft, pulsing light, rivers that reflected multiple suns like ribbons of molten glass, and mountains that shimmered with crystalline edges. The air outside was filled with strange colors, almost like a faint aurora stretched across the horizon. The shuttle landed smoothly on a platform carved from crystal-like material. Ethan unbuckled his harness and stepped out, feeling the weight of the alien gravity, a little lighter than Earth's, but enough that each step felt effortless yet deliberate. The air smelled sweet, almost floral, with hints of minerals that tingled in his nose. Queen Alara was waiting for him. Her presence was calming, almost regal, yet her eyes betrayed worry. She gestured gracefully toward a path that led through luminous gardens toward the palace. "This way," she said. Her voice carried over the soft hum of the alien environment, clear and melodic. "We have prepared a chamber for you. It is connected to the healing gardens." Ethan followed, taking in every detail. The plants in the gardens were unlike anything he had studied before. Some glowed faintly, others seemed to move when he wasn't looking directly at them, and delicate vines stretched across crystalline arches like living ribbons. Small creatures flitted among the foliage, tiny translucent beings that emitted soft musical tones whenever they touched a flower. Ethan paused to observe them. "These plants, some seem semi-sentient," he said, softly, more to himself than to the Queen. "They are," Queen Alara confirmed. "Our world is alive in ways humans cannot fully understand. Every plant, every stone, every waterway is part of a greater consciousness." Ethan nodded slowly. He had studied complex ecosystems on Earth, but nothing prepared him for a world where every element of nature seemed aware of its surroundings. Finally, they reached a building that rose organically from the ground, its crystalline walls reflecting the glowing flora outside. Inside, the air was warm and scented with subtle fragrances he could not identify. The chamber prepared for Ethan was simple but elegant, a combination of alien materials that seemed soft to the touch yet strong and durable. Princess Lyra lay on a platform in the center, surrounded by floating orbs that emitted a gentle light. She looked peaceful, almost serene, but Ethan could see faint signs of illness. Her skin, though luminous, had patches that dimmed slightly, and her breathing was shallow. "Her condition worsens with each hour," the Queen explained. "Our best healers cannot cure her. You are our hope, human." Ethan knelt beside Lyra, placing his hands gently over her. He examined her carefully, noting her breathing, her pulse, and the faint energy that shimmered around her. His mind raced through possibilities, analyzing patterns and signals. "This is fascinating," he murmured. "Her condition doesn't seem like any disease I know. It's not caused by bacteria or virus. It may be related to the energy of this world itself." Queen Alara watched him with a mixture of hope and curiosity. "You are already observing what others could not. That is why we called you." Ethan stood and moved toward the window, looking out at the glowing forests. He needed samples, information, anything that could help him understand Lyra's condition. He turned back to the Queen. "I will need to go into the gardens. There are plants here that may hold the key to her recovery. I need to study them carefully." The Queen hesitated, then nodded. "I will provide guides. You must be cautious. Some plants can be, unpredictable." Ethan smiled faintly. "Unpredictable plants are exactly the kind of challenge I like." A small team of alien guides joined him. They moved gracefully, silent but efficient, communicating in gestures and soft melodic tones. Ethan studied their behavior, fascinated by the subtle ways they coordinated with one another. It reminded him of social animals on Earth, only far more intelligent and refined. As they entered the glowing forest, Ethan felt a thrill of excitement. Every plant seemed to pulse with life, emitting faint light patterns that shifted as he passed. He crouched to examine a vine with translucent leaves, observing how it reacted to his presence. When he touched it gently, the leaves curved toward his hand, almost like a greeting. "Remarkable," he whispered. "They respond to touch, perhaps, even intent." The alien guides pointed to a cluster of plants near a crystal stream. Ethan recognized some familiar traits, chemical compounds that resembled medicinal plants on Earth, though transformed in ways he could hardly imagine. Carefully, he began taking samples, using sterile tools to avoid harming the delicate ecosystem. Hours passed. Ethan studied, measured, and recorded everything. He analyzed the energy patterns, the chemical compositions, and even the subtle movements of the plants. Each discovery led to another question, and each question drove him deeper into the mystery of this strange world. During a break, he sat beside the crystal stream. The water was clear, glowing faintly with an inner light. Tiny creatures swam in it, leaving trails of shimmering particles that reflected the sunlight. Ethan dipped his hand into the water, feeling an unexpected warmth. "You are learning quickly," a voice said. Ethan turned to see the Queen standing nearby. "Your understanding of life, of balance, is unlike anything we have seen. You are patient, observant, and respectful." Ethan smiled. "I try. That's what humans do. We explore, we observe, we learn. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail. But we never stop trying." The Queen's eyes softened. "It is why you are here. No other species could approach this as you do. It is not force, not magic. It is understanding." As the day passed, Ethan noticed patterns among the plants. Certain species seemed connected to the energy that surrounded Lyra, almost like they could influence her condition. Others emitted compounds that might stabilize her energy levels. Carefully, he began collecting these plants, documenting every detail for further study. By the time they returned to the palace, Lyra's faint pulse seemed slightly stronger, a small but encouraging sign. Ethan felt a surge of hope. He carefully prepared a small analysis station in the palace, using his tools to study the collected plants. He tested their properties, observing their reactions, and cross-referenced them with his knowledge of chemistry and biology. "Human, what are you doing?" Queen Alara asked, observing him at work. "I'm trying to understand her illness," he replied. "It's connected to this world, the energy, the plants, maybe even the light. I think I can create a remedy if I combine the right elements." The Queen watched silently, a mixture of awe and anxiety in her expression. Ethan's mind worked quickly, calculating proportions, analyzing energy patterns, and hypothesizing potential solutions. He tested small samples carefully, noting their effects on minor energy fluctuations, and slowly built a clearer picture of what might heal Lyra. Hours passed, and the alien palace grew quiet. Ethan paused for a moment, looking at the glowing forest outside. The planet was alive, beautiful and mysterious. Every creature, every plant, every beam of light seemed connected. And yet, he felt a deep confidence. Humans had always been able to find patterns in the unknown, to solve problems, through observation, empathy, and creativity. "Ethan," the Queen said softly, breaking his thoughts, "I have never seen anyone approach our world as you do. You do not conquer, you do not demand, you understand. Perhaps that is why she will survive." Ethan smiled faintly, feeling a warmth he had not expected. It was one thing to study alien life from a distance, another entirely to be trusted with it. He returned to his work, determined to find the combination of plants, energy, and care that could heal Lyra. Night fell over the alien world, casting long, glowing shadows across the palace and gardens. Ethan worked by soft, pulsing lights, carefully, preparing small mixtures from the collected plants. Each step required patience, observation, and precision, qualities humans had honed over millennia. By the time he stepped back, a small, glowing vial rested on the table. It pulsed softly, radiating warmth and energy. Ethan held it in his hands, feeling a sense of accomplishment and hope. This might be the key to saving Lyra. Queen Alara approached him, her expression a mix of relief and admiration. "You are remarkable," she said simply. "Perhaps humans are more than we ever imagined." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also a profound sense of purpose. He had traveled across the stars, into the heart of an alien world, and found a way to help a life in need, not through strength, not through force, but through understanding. And for the first time in his life, he realized just how special humans could be, not because of power or technology, but because of their curiosity, their empathy, and their determination to make a difference. As he looked at Princess Lyra, lying peacefully under the soft light, Ethan knew the next steps would be even more challenging, but he also knew that humans could rise to meet any challenge, even on a world far from home, under alien suns surrounded by life beyond imagination. Tonight, a human had taken the first step toward healing an alien princess, and in doing so, had shown the galaxy what humanity could truly accomplish. The next morning, Ethan Riley awoke to the soft hum of the palace. Light from the twin suns streamed through the crystal walls, casting patterns across the floor that shifted with the gentle breeze. Outside, the alien gardens glowed faintly, as if welcoming the new day. Today was the day he would venture deeper into the world, a journey that might hold the key to Princess Lyra's recovery. Queen Alara appeared at the edge of his chamber, her presence serene yet purposeful. "Are you ready?" she asked. Ethan nodded, tying the straps of his field kit. "Yes. I need to find the plants that can restore her energy. The ones I studied yesterday were helpful, but they are not enough. There must be a source, a core energy, something only this world can provide." The queen studied him for a moment. "This part of the forest is old, ancient. Few creatures enter it and fewer return. You must be cautious." "I understand," Ethan replied, feeling the thrill of adventure mix with a tinge of apprehension. "I've faced unknown terrain before. We will proceed carefully." A small group of alien guides joined him. Unlike the day before, this journey would take them into the glowing jungle beyond the palace gardens. Ethan observed their movements, graceful, synchronized, each subtle gesture carrying meaning. He tried to mimic their quiet efficiency, feeling more attuned to their rhythm with each step. The forest was alive in a way he had not yet fully experienced. Bioluminescent plants lit the path with soft, shimmering colors, while gentle sounds, chirps, whistles, and melodic tones echoed through the dense foliage. Strange creatures peeked from behind the trees, observing the newcomers with curiosity rather than fear. Ethan paused to examine one of these creatures, a small, translucent being, with delicate wings that left faint trails of light as it hovered. He extended his hand slowly. The creature approached cautiously, brushing against his fingers before darting back into the shadows. "Patience," one of the alien guides said softly. Ethan smiled. It was a lesson he already understood. As they moved deeper into the jungle, the plants became more unusual. Some had leaves shaped like crystals, others seemed to float in the air, swaying even without wind. Ethan's eyes widened as he noticed one plant whose flowers opened only when his shadow passed over them. He knelt, taking careful notes and small samples, aware that each discovery might be crucial to saving Lyra. After several hours, they reached a clearing dominated by a massive tree-like organism, its trunk twisting toward the sky, glowing with an inner light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The guides stopped. One of them extended a hand toward the tree and gestured with a subtle wave. Ethan understood. This was the source of the forest's energy. He approached cautiously, his senses alert. The tree emitted warmth, a gentle hum, that resonated with the energy he had observed around Lyra. He could feel a faint tingle in his fingers as he touched the bark. "This is it," he whispered. "This must be the source of the healing energy." One guide stepped closer and produced a small glowing crystal. They pressed it against the tree and a soft beam of light extended, enveloping the crystal. Ethan watched in awe. The energy flowed into the crystal, imbuing it with a warm glow that seemed alive. He carefully took the crystal, observing its properties. The energy inside was unlike anything he had studied before. It pulsed in harmony with the planet, with the light, with life itself. If this could be combined with the plants he had collected, it might be enough to restore Lyra's health completely. As they began their journey back, Ethan paused frequently to study other plants along the path. Some emitted a faint hum, others changed color when touched. He realized that the jungle was a network, each plant connected to the others, forming a system that maintained the balance of life on the planet. Hours later, they reached a shallow river, its water glowing with a soft blue light. Ethan knelt beside it, dipping a container to collect samples. Tiny creatures swam within, leaving trails of luminous particles behind. He studied them carefully, realizing they too were part of the energy network. Every element of the forest seemed interconnected. Humans are remarkable. Queen Alara's voice echoed in his mind. She had accompanied them in spirit, observing, remotely through a network of biosensors in the forest. You see what we often miss. You approach life with patience, curiosity, and respect. Ethan smiled faintly, feeling a swell of pride. It was not just about knowledge, it was about understanding, observing, and connecting with the world around him. As night fell, the forest glowed even more vividly. Ethan and the guides made camp near a cluster of glowing mushrooms that emitted a soft warmth. He prepared a small analysis station, combining some of the samples with the energy crystal. Using careful observation and gentle handling, he experimented with ways to concentrate the healing energy. The process was slow. The energy was delicate, sensitive to touch and intention. Ethan realized that brute force would destroy it. He needed precision, patience, and understanding, qualities humans often overlooked in their rush for results. By midnight, he had prepared a small vial of glowing liquid, infused with energy from the jungle. He examined it carefully, testing its stability. The light pulsed gently, responding to his presence. He could feel the potential within it, the ability to restore life, to heal, to strengthen. The guides watched silently, their glowing eyes reflecting respect. Ethan realized that they too were learning from him, not about human strength or technology, but about their approach to life, curiosity, empathy, and observation. This may be enough, Ethan whispered to himself. Enough to help her. He rested briefly, gazing up at the alien stars that twinkled through the canopy. The world around him was alive, beautiful, and full of mysteries. Yet he felt connected to it in a way that transcended species. Humans had always been explorers, thinkers, problem solvers. Here, far from Earth, those qualities shone brighter than ever. The next morning, Ethan prepared for the journey back to the palace. He carefully packed the energy crystal and plant samples, making sure everything was stable. The guides led him back through the glowing jungle, their movements smooth and synchronized. The forest seemed to recognize him now, reacting subtly to his presence. The plants shifted, small creatures moved aside, and the glowing paths seemed clearer than before. When they finally returned to the palace, Queen Alara and Princess Lyra awaited him. Ethan carefully carried the vial of glowing liquid, feeling the weight of responsibility but also hope. The princess stirred slightly as he approached, her eyes fluttering open. "Can you help her?" the queen asked softly, her voice filled with anticipation. Ethan nodded. "I believe I can. This is the result of the world's energy, combined with the plants I collected. It should restore her strength and stabilize her condition." Queen Alara watched silently as Ethan prepared to administer the treatment. He handled Lyra gently, ensuring she was comfortable. The glowing liquid pulsed softly in his hands, a living essence drawn from the planet itself. Carefully, he applied a few drops, observing the effect. Lyra's breathing became steadier, and a faint glow returned to her skin. The energy around her seemed to synchronize with the liquid, as if the planet itself was participating in her recovery. Hours passed and the change was remarkable. The faint dimness in her skin disappeared, replaced by a soft, healthy glow. Her energy returned slowly but steadily, her pulse growing stronger. Queen Alara's eyes filled with gratitude and awe. "You have done what we could not," she whispered. "You have brought life back to her." Ethan smiled, feeling a deep satisfaction. It was not just about science or knowledge, it was about connection, empathy, and understanding. Humans had a way of seeing the world that allowed them to make a difference in ways others could not. Princess Lyra stirred fully, opening her eyes to look at Ethan. There was a spark of recognition, a quiet gratitude that needed no words. Ethan knelt beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "You're going to be all right," he said softly. "The worst is over." The Queen stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have shown us the true potential of humans. Not through force, not through power, but through understanding, patience, and courage." Ethan felt a warmth spread through him. For the first time, he truly understood the significance of his journey. Humans were capable of remarkable things, not just on Earth, but across the stars. Their empathy, intelligence, and determination could change lives, unite worlds, and heal the impossible. As the night fell over the alien palace, Ethan looked out at the glowing forests, feeling a deep connection to the world around him. He had ventured into the unknown, faced challenges beyond imagination, and discovered the power of understanding, and he knew that this was only the beginning. Tomorrow there would be more to learn, more to discover, and more ways for humans to show their unique abilities. But for tonight, he allowed himself a quiet moment of pride. A human had made a difference, and in doing so, had inspired a world beyond his own. The morning sunlight filtered through the crystalline walls of the palace, casting a soft glow across the chamber where Princess Lyra rested. Ethan Riley had spent the previous night carefully monitoring her condition. The treatment he had prepared from the jungle's energy and plants had stabilized her, but he knew the work was far from over. Healing, he thought, was not a moment. It was a process. Queen Alara appeared at the chamber's entrance, her expression a mixture of relief and curiosity. "How is she?" she asked softly. Ethan looked at Lyra. Her breathing was steady, her glow returned to normal, and her eyes now fluttered open with clarity. "She's stable," he replied. "Her energy is returning and she seems comfortable, but we need to continue monitoring her and provide gentle care to strengthen her fully." The Queen's relief was palpable. "You have done what our greatest healers could not, yet you continue to care so patiently. You are truly remarkable." Ethan smiled faintly. "It's not just about what we do, it's how we do it. Observation, care, and understanding. That is what makes a difference." Lyra stirred and opened her eyes fully. She looked at Ethan with curiosity and something that seemed like recognition. Her gaze was soft, yet intelligent, and Ethan felt a gentle connection form between them. "Hello," he said softly, keeping his voice calm. "I'm Ethan. I'm here to help you." Lyra tilted her head, studying him silently. Then, almost imperceptibly, she reached out a small hand toward him. Ethan took it gently. Her fingers were delicate, almost translucent, yet strong in their own way. "You see," Ethan said to the Queen quietly, "she responds to touch and presence. She understands intention." Queen Alara nodded. "Humans are the only species we have met who can communicate in this way without words, through patience, empathy, and understanding." For the next several hours, Ethan worked with Lyra. He used gentle techniques, observing her reactions, measuring her energy, and adjusting her care based on subtle cues. Each step was precise, careful, and respectful. He combined elements from the jungle, the glowing plants, the energy crystal, and purified water, creating a blend that harmonized with her natural energy. As he worked, he also studied the palace's environment. Ethan noticed that the ambient light, the sound patterns, and even the flow of air influenced Lyra's energy. He realized that the world itself was an active participant in her healing. Humans, he thought, were capable of understanding these subtle connections in ways that other species might overlook. The Queen watched silently, occasionally offering information about the plants, the energy flows, and the traditions surrounding healing. Ethan absorbed everything, applying his own reasoning and curiosity. He asked questions, tested hypotheses, and adjusted the treatment carefully. By midday, Lyra was sitting up, her glow steady, her breathing rhythmic. She explored the chamber with small, careful movements, occasionally looking back at Ethan with a spark of trust in her eyes. "You're doing very well," Ethan said, smiling. "How do you feel?" Lyra responded with a soft, melodic sound, a language unfamiliar to him yet full of emotion. Ethan listened carefully, noting the tone, pitch, and rhythm. Over time, he began to understand patterns in her sounds, realizing that communication could extend beyond spoken words. "See?" he said to the Queen. "Even without a shared language, connection is possible through observation and empathy." Queen Alara's eyes glistened. "You are teaching us as much as you are helping. You see life in ways we cannot. Humans are truly extraordinary." Ethan felt a quiet pride. He had always known humans were capable of remarkable things, but to see it recognized by an alien civilization was humbling. It was not technology or power that made humans special. It was their ability to understand, to care, and to create solutions through intellect and empathy. After a brief rest, Ethan took Lyra to the palace gardens. The light there was soft, filtered through the glowing leaves. Strange creatures moved gently around them, responding to Lyra's presence. Ethan observed her closely, noting how she interacted with the environment. She seemed to draw strength from the energy of the plants, connecting with the forest in a way that humans often could not. Ethan knelt beside a cluster of luminous vines, showing Lyra how to interact with them gently. "See? They respond when you are calm and patient," he explained. She mimicked his movements, and the vines shifted in response, glowing brighter. "You understand," the Queen whispered. "Not by force, but by patience and care. This is why humans are so remarkable." Lyra's glow intensified slightly as she continued, her energy harmonizing with the plants. Ethan realized that the healing process was not just about medicine, it was about connection. Humans had a natural ability to form bonds, to understand, and to influence life positively through care rather than coercion. Hours passed, and Ethan continued his work, blending the healing energy with the environment, guiding Lyra gently and observing her responses. Each success, each small improvement, brought a sense of hope and wonder. The Queen watched silently, learning from his approach. Finally, as evening approached, Lyra stood fully, her energy stable, her movements confident. She looked at Ethan and then at her mother. There was a spark of joy in her eyes, a quiet understanding that she was safe and healed. Queen Alara approached Ethan, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You have done more than heal her," she said softly. "You have shown us a new way of understanding life. Humans have a gift that transcends worlds." Ethan smiled. "We are explorers, observers, and learners. We try to understand, to connect, and to help. It's what makes us human." The Queen nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Perhaps it is time for humans and our species to share knowledge, to learn from one another. Your presence here has opened new possibilities." Ethan felt a deep sense of purpose. He had come to this planet to help a single life, but in doing so, he had discovered something larger, the potential for connection and understanding across species. Humans could inspire change not through power or domination, but through empathy, intelligence, and care. As the night fell over the glowing palace and gardens, Ethan sat with Lyra and the Queen. They shared quiet moments, observing the world, outside, listening to the soft music of the forest and feeling the gentle hum of life. Ethan realized that this was as important as any scientific discovery. Connection, trust, and understanding were the true gifts that humans could offer. Tomorrow, Ethan said quietly. We can continue exploring ways to strengthen her, to help her grow even more in harmony with your world. Queen Alara smiled, a warmth spreading across her features. Yes, and we will learn from you as well. Together, humans and our species can achieve what neither could alone. Lyra reached out her hand again, touching Ethan's gently. There was no language, no need for words, just understanding and trust. Ethan held her hand, feeling the connection that bridged worlds and species. For the first time, he truly understood the full meaning of his journey. Humans had a unique ability to touch lives, to heal, and to inspire, even in places far beyond Earth, among beings whose existence was so different from their own. Ethan Riley, far from home, had not only healed an alien princess, he had shown a civilization what humans could truly be, and he knew that this was only the beginning. As he looked out over the glowing forests and crystal rivers, Ethan felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Life, in all its forms, was connected, and humans had a special role to play in that connection. Tonight, the palace was filled with quiet harmony, the soft glow of healing energy mingling with the natural rhythms of the alien world. Ethan Riley, a human, had proven that understanding, empathy, and intelligence could bridge even the greatest divides, and that sometimes the simplest human qualities were the most extraordinary of all. The morning sun rose over the Crystal Palace, scattering light across the glowing gardens. Ethan Riley stood near the edge of a balcony, looking out at the alien world stretching beneath him. The twin suns bathed the landscape in gold and pink, the bioluminescent plants of the forest shimmering faintly in harmony with the rising light. Everything felt alive. Every leaf, every ripple in the streams, every small creature moving gently in the air. He thought about how far he had come, from the quiet human colony on Kepler 452b to this strange, magnificent world, helping a life that was completely unlike his own. Princess Lyra had recovered, her energy had returned, and in that journey, Ethan had learned something even more valuable. Humans were capable of bridging worlds, of connecting, and of understanding in ways few other species could. Queen Alara approached silently, her flowing form glimmering with subtle colors that shifted like soft sunlight on water. You have done more than heal her, she said quietly. You have shown us what it means to understand life, to care, and to connect. You have taught us patience, empathy, and observation in ways we never imagined. Ethan smiled. I only did what any human would try to do. We explore, we learn, and we try to help. It's what we are. The Queen's eyes softened. And that is why you are so remarkable to us. You see, humans have a gift not just of knowledge or strength, but of connection. You can understand life in ways that others, even we, cannot fully grasp. Ethan nodded. The words felt heavy with meaning, yet they also filled him with warmth. He glanced toward the palace chamber where Princess Lyra was resting. She was awake now, moving gently through the room, interacting with the glowing plants in her own curious way. Her eyes sparkled with energy and life. Ethan approached her cautiously, not wanting to overwhelm her. She looked up at him, tilting her head slightly, a soft, melodic sound escaping her lips. He had learned to interpret these tones over the past days. They were a language of emotion, of recognition, of trust. You're fully recovered, he said softly. And that's because you are strong, but also because your world helped you. And maybe because humans helped too. Lyra's small hand reached out to touch his. Ethan took it gently, marveling at the delicate strength in her fingers. She seemed to understand him, not through words, but through presence and intention, a connection that transcended language. Queen Alara joined them, her expression filled with pride and gratitude. This bond you have formed with her is extraordinary. It is rare, even for our kind, to create understanding across species in such a short time. Humans, you are truly unique. Ethan felt a deep sense of purpose settle in his chest. I think every species can learn from one another, he said. All it takes is patience, respect, and a willingness to understand. That's how we can make a difference. The Queen's eyes glistened with emotion. You have given us hope, not just for her, but for the future. Humans and our species. Perhaps we can learn and grow together. There is much to explore, much to share. Ethan smiled faintly. I would be honored to help in any way I can. For the next few days, Ethan continued his work with Lyra and the Queen, observing, studying, and gently guiding. He showed them how humans approached problem-solving, not with force, not with urgency, but with curiosity, patience, and careful observation. Together, they experimented with ways to enhance Lyra's strength and energy. The palace gardens became a classroom, a laboratory and a place of trust and learning. Lyra responded remarkably. She explored the forest with confidence, interacting with plants, creatures, and energy flows. Ethan noticed subtle patterns in how she harmonized with her surroundings. He realized that humans, by understanding relationships and balance, could teach even the most advanced civilizations new ways of seeing the world. Queen Alara observed closely, her admiration for humans growing. Perhaps this is the beginning of something larger, she said softly. Your presence here is more than a cure. It is a bridge. One day, humans and our people may work together to share knowledge and life across the stars. Ethan nodded. It's possible. Humans have always been explorers. We seek to understand and connect, and sometimes that changes the world for the better. As the days passed, Ethan and Lyra developed a quiet companionship. She had grown stronger, more confident, and more curious. She followed him through the gardens, imitating his careful handling of plants, his gentle observation of creatures, and even the way he listened to the soft energies that flowed through the world. Ethan realized something profound. Humans had a gift not just for knowledge, but for trust, empathy, and guidance. They could bridge worlds, heal without force, and inspire growth. And in doing so, they became a force for harmony rather than conflict. One evening, as the twin suns dipped, below the horizon, bathing the palace in soft orange and purple light, Queen Alara called Ethan to the balcony. Below, the forest shimmered with life, glowing softly as creatures and plants moved in gentle rhythm. Ethan, she said, her voice calm yet full of emotion, your time here has been brief, but the impact is lasting. You have shown us a new way to approach life, to understand and to connect. You have taught us patience, care, and empathy, and for that we are grateful. Ethan looked out at the landscape, feeling the weight of her words. I'm grateful too, he said. Not just for Lyra, but for everything I've learned. Your world, your people, have taught me as much as I have taught you. It's a partnership. That's what makes humans special. We learn, and we share what we learn with anyone who is willing to listen. The Queen nodded, her eyes glimmering with quiet joy. Indeed. And we will remember this always. You have created a lasting bond, not just with my daughter, but with our entire species. Humans. You are truly remarkable. Lyra approached, her small hand resting lightly on Ethan's arm. She looked at him with trust and curiosity, her glow steady and bright. Ethan knelt beside her, feeling the warmth of life and connection that transcended words, you see, he said softly, looking at Queen Alara. It's not about power or technology. It's about understanding, caring, and connecting. Humans have the ability to make a difference in ways that matter most, by listening, observing, and respecting life. The Queen smiled, her eyes reflecting the twin suns. Perhaps this is the future. Humans and our species working together, learning together. You have shown us that even across the stars, understanding is the most powerful force of all. For a long while, they stood together on the balcony, watching the glowing forests and rivers stretch toward the horizon. Ethan felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had come to this planet as a stranger, a visitor, and a scientist. Now he was a part of something larger, a story of trust, empathy, and connection that bridged worlds. Finally, it was time for Ethan to prepare for his journey, back to the human colony. The Queen and Lyra accompanied him to the shuttle. Lyra clung briefly to his hand, her trust and affection evident. Queen Alara placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You are always welcome here, Ethan Riley," she said. "You have shown us the best of humanity. Never forget that your kindness, curiosity, and courage have changed lives." Ethan nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. "I won't forget, and I will carry your world with me, just as I hope you carry the lesson of humans in yours." The shuttle rose smoothly into the alien sky, leaving the glowing palace behind. Ethan looked out the window, seeing Lyra waving, her glow steady, her energy strong. The queen's figure shimmered in the balcony light, her expression full of respect and admiration. As he traveled back through the stars, Ethan reflected on the journey. Humans were explorers not just of space but of life itself. They could bridge gaps between worlds, connect species, and inspire change through empathy and understanding. And in this moment, he realized that humans had a role far beyond Earth. They were capable of touching lives, healing worlds, and building bonds that no technology or force could achieve. When the shuttle reached the human colony, Ethan stepped out into the familiar landscape with a new sense of purpose. The twin suns of Kepler 452b were rising over the horizon, casting light over the rocks and plants he had studied for years. But now, everything seemed different. He had seen what humans could accomplish beyond their own world. Ethan Riley smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning. Across the stars there were worlds to explore, lives to touch, and connections to build. And humans, with their curiosity, empathy, and courage, were ready. Somewhere out there, Princess Lyra and Queen Alara would remember him, not as a visitor but as a friend, a healer, and a bridge between species. And Ethan knew in his heart that humanity's story was just beginning, a story of understanding, kindness, and the limitless potential of one remarkable species. As he looked at the stars above, he whispered softly, "Humans can do amazing things, and this is only the start." The stars shimmered distant and bright as if agreeing with him, and somewhere, across the galaxy, a bond formed that would never be forgotten.